Hey everybody, Jeff Antoniuk here, Digging Deeper Jazz Videos. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today I want to talk about something that has been most important in my playing and in my study, and that is getting our eighth notes moving. Not just good technique and everything, but I'm talking about something very tricky to talk about called the momentum of our eighth notes. It's what your heroes have. I don't care what style you listen to, and I don't care about which instrument you're playing. Whether you're a singer, whether you're a bass player, whether you're a trumpet player, doesn't matter. This applies to everybody. Now, here's the thing. Years ago, when I had graduated from the University of North Texas, I got a grant from the Canadian government. I'm Canadian, and it was a bunch of money. And I could have studied with literally anyone on earth. Like, it was that much money. They would have said yes at some point. I picked a guy named Tim Higgins, a great Grammy-winning trumpet player, and I wanted to learn this technique from him. It was that important to me, getting out of school with my master's degree. I would love to show you this idea. Let me play a quick tune for you. Okay. That was a great bebop tune called Crazyology. Now, here's my question. What was that song comprised of? Was it comprised of whole notes? Was it made up of half notes? Was it mostly quarter notes? Was it mostly eighth note triplets? If we took all those notes and put them in different buckets, which bucket is the most full? The answer, eighth notes. And sure, I picked a bebop tune with a lot of eighth notes. Here's the thing. If you go through the history of jazz, from Buddy Bolden and Louis Armstrong until the most contemporary thing happening today, add up all the notes played in the name of jazz. Which bucket has the most in there? Half note triplets? 16th notes? It's eighth notes, right? So this is a big deal now for the adult amateur students I work with. By the way, I just finished Maryland Summer Jazz here on the East Coast of the United States last week. We had an amazing summer workshop with these folks. I hope I'll see you at that thing next year. We had 90 people studying with some of the finest musicians on the East Coast. It was crazy. Here's one of the things I heard. I heard a lot of people not using eighth notes in their playing. And it didn't sound like jazz. Even if they played fantastic notes, other note values, this sounds crazy what I'm saying, but think about it. If you're improvising in dotted half notes, and believe it or not, I heard a lot of that. Half note triplets. Half note triplets. It can be the most beautiful melody, but at some point that don't sound like jazz. Jazz is about eighth note motion. So that's what I want to talk about today here. Eighth note motion. Now, this may not be the coolest, sexiest topic to talk about. Yeah, we could talk about the altered scale or the augmented scale or whatever. That's what gets taught everywhere. Every book is on a scale or licks or patterns or whatever. It's hard to talk about this stuff. It's rare that somebody talks about the feel, not the rhythm of what we're playing, the feel of what we're playing. See if there's any college courses. I did 8 years of university. I didn't take any classes in how to develop my feel. Basically, what we're told is listen to jazz and you'll get better. Well, here's the thing. You've been listening to jazz for years, for decades. Is your feel off the charts amazing? No, that's why you're watching this. We have to develop it. Just listening does not get us there. All right. You see on the screen a PDF that I would love to send you that's going to show you sort of how to play with this. When I was studying with Tim Higgins, it was interesting. He told me, got to get your eighth notes together. And I was like, well, but it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Like, I don't want to be playing endless eighth notes. I kind of like a more broken angular style. And he said to me, well, all right, play for me what you mean. And I said, okay, I'll play a blues for you. was like, yeah, that's that kind of thing. I don't want to play a bunch of eighth notes. And he said, okay, so what were those notes you played? And I was like, well, okay, so damn. Okay, so 99% of what I just played there were eighth notes, maybe 100%. Maybe I played an eighth note triplet in there. It was made up of eighth notes and eighth rests. So the point is, I'm not trying to turn you into an eighth note machine that just, blurts out 8 eighth notes in every measure. What I'm trying to tell you is you have to get those eighth notes straight and moving and have great intensity and momentum. And here's the thing, when you choose to leave out one of those eighth notes, that's called a rest, it has to have killer momentum. Our rests have to have momentum. So that's what this exercise is about. So here's the deal. The exercise is pretty straightforward, but it is not at all easy. Here's what I want you to do. I do want you to play eighth notes in every measure. So what you're gonna do, Tim Hagen's had me do this for 30 minutes a day, 7 days a week for over a year. Solid eighth notes, just play eighth notes. And to begin with, it's a finger thing. Like, can you get your fingers to play 8 eighth notes in a measure? Can you get them in time? Can you get them even? That for me took months. Like, I was a professional musician for years before this, but that took months. Then we start working on the momentum of the eighth notes. Now, this sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, this is the most important thing I did in my own playing, and I've taught this to hundreds of people. And this is what you need to do. Get these eighth notes in your playing, this matrix of eighth notes underlying everything, and then start working on the momentum. Here's the exercise. That's the exercise. Do that, if you're like me, 30 minutes a day. Here's the thing. I'd love for you to do it 5 minutes a day. If you can swing 10, that would be amazing. But I want you to do 5 minutes a day of eighth notes. Now, for the advanced players, do what I was doing. I was playing atonally. I didn't have a tone center. Now, that's actually kind of hard to do, to just let your fingers play atonally. For someone who's newer to this, newer to playing, you may want to stay in a tonality, such as the C major scale or something. But here's the hard part about this exercise. I don't want you thinking about the notes. As soon as you think about notes, you're not doing the exercise. The exercise is thinking about the eighth notes and the momentum. If you're thinking about, was that a C or a C sharp, you're not doing the exercise. Your exercise is 100% focused on the eighth note motion and the momentum, that pushing ahead feel of the eighth notes. So that's the hard part. You have to have your mind really engaged, really focused to do this stuff. And so you're gonna do 8 eighth notes in a measure. And again, I'll put this up on the screen so you can sort of see the do's and the don'ts. 8 eighth notes in a measure. No rests allowed. Like for 6 months from now, no rests allowed, because rests break the momentum. It is so hard to professionally play a rest. And I'm talking for the full-time players out there, full-time teachers out there. This is hard to pull off. I'm talking about the highest level of eighth note playing. I'm talking about Oscar Peterson. I'm talking about Freddie Hubbard, like that level of eighth notes. And it doesn't have to be aggressive eighth notes, but momentum in our playing. So 8 eighth notes in a measure. You can breathe. That's the only time you're allowed to stop. Try not to breathe though. 8 eighth notes, no rests. And don't think about pitches. The second you think, oh, I'm getting tired of C, no, you're not doing the exercise now. It is so, so difficult. Let me do a bit more of this for you. Different tempo. Okay, that was a mess. Here is another part of the deal. When your air isn't perfect, as mine isn't, you push through that. When a note doesn't speak, you don't stop. You don't go back on your heels. You push ahead. And by the way, I've also got a dog down here who's, like attacking me in the middle of my playing. So when the dog comes at you, you keep going. Okay? So when the air is a little funky, when you play yourself into a corner finger-wise, keep going. You don't stop. You don't go backwards. That's not what momentum is. You keep going forward. When your brain seizes up and it's like, you keep going forward. So this is what the exercise is teaching us. I think you guys need to meet the dog. Okay, here we go. This, everybody, is Boomerang. He's called Boomerang because he keeps coming back no matter what. Boomerang keeps coming back. And I guess I'm going to get more hits on the video because cute dogs are good for the internet. Okay, there we go. Boomer, go home. All right. That is the exercise. Give this a try. 5 minutes. I guarantee 30 seconds into this thing, you're going to be like, I hate Jeff Antoniuk and I'm never watching again. Cool. Just do this for me. Go past 30 seconds. Do this for 5 minutes and see what you feel like. If you're a wind player, you're air. You're essentially playing for 5 minutes straight. All that air you're moving. Wow. When's the last time you played for 5 minutes straight? Maybe. We don't usually do that, right? Your fingers getting used to the motion of eighth notes. Your brain getting used to detaching from this idea of right notes and wrong notes. Your brain thinking, I'm moving ahead. It's an amazing thing. This is like a really high level exercise, which is how I was taught. I was a working professional recording jazz musician who went to Tim Hagen's for lessons. This was super kind of high-end repair he did on me. That said, I've used this with a lot of the adult amateurs and semi-pros, like you folks, who I work with, and just to get these eighth notes rolling. And now here's the thing, I will say, a lot of the adults I work with are older. They're 50, 60, 70 years old. People with arthritis, people with diminished lung capacity, like real older people kind of stuff going on, right? Here's the interesting thing. That is never, I've not yet had one person where that was the issue. What's going on with our judgments with ourselves, or just the fact that we've never really gotten used to playing eighth notes, that is holding people back more than their arthritis. That's holding people back more than the fact that their lung capacity isn't what it used to be. I'm telling you, this is for real. So really, really check this out. And this is the kind of thing, by the way, we're going to be working on at jazzwire.net. We are launching this fall, 2018. We're open for applications September 1st. We've already got folks from 30 countries signed up, and all over the United States and North America. It's amazing. So I can't wait for this. And I actually happened upon a very cool quote the other day. Community is the currency of the future. Community is the currency of the future. And that's really very true, right? Us wanting to connect. It's great that we're sitting here and virtually taking a lesson in our basement, in our apartment, wherever we are in the world, but this ability to connect, that's the valuable thing. And that's what Jazzwire is going to do. I'm not interested in reinventing something that's out there or doing Jeff's version of the same old thing. We're going on a limb and doing something that does not exist for adult musicians. Hope you'll join us for that. So these eighth notes, give it a try. And I really want to hear back from you what your experience is on it. And again, it's one of the most powerful things I've ever done. And I'm happy to be able to hand it off to you here. So let me know how it goes. Let us know if you'd like the PDF for this video or any other of the videos. And we will see you next time on Digging Deeper. Take care.